The pics of her death went viral. The Bianca Devins case won introduction. When obsession turns deadly, Bianca Devins' name is remembered not just for how she lived, but for how the world learned of her death. A 17-year-old girl from Utica, New York, Bianca became the subject of online horror after her murder photos were shared widely across the internet. But this case isn't just about a brutal killing. It's about obsession disguised as love, the failures of digital responsibility, and the haunting power of viral tragedy. In this documentary, we trace the events that turned a young girl's search for community into a predator's obsession and examine how that obsession erupted into one of the most shocking internet crimes of the decade. It's a chilling reminder that technology, in the wrong hands, can amplify violence and strip away humanity faster than we ever imagined. As her story unfolds, the questions become harder to ignore. How did this happen, and could it have been prevented? Background. Who was Bianca Devins? Bianca Michelle Devins was born in 2001 and lived in upstate New York with her mother and siblings. Shy and creative, Bianca was known for her love of anime, pastel goth fashion, and psychology. She struggled with mental health issues, including PTSD and borderline personality disorder, but she was on a journey of healing. Her family described her as empathetic and fiercely protective of those she loved. Online, Bianca found a sense of identity through platforms like Instagram, Discord, and Tumblr. She used names like at ESCT and at OxyContin. There she found others who shared her interests, and unfortunately, people who saw her vulnerability as something to exploit. Bianca wasn't famous, but in certain internet subcultures, she had a following. She offered kindness to strangers, and some of them mistook it for intimacy. That mistake would cost her everything. Her digital footprint, like that of many young people, was filled with art, expressions of pain, and a desire to belong, making her a beacon for the wrong kind of attention. Timeline. From online friendship to fatal obsession. In early 2019, Bianca began talking to Brandon Clark, a 21-year-old man she met through Discord. To her, he was just another friend, someone who offered emotional support during a rough time. But Brandon viewed her differently. He was controlling and possessive, misreading every friendly message as romantic intent. By July 2019, Bianca had finished high school and was preparing for college. She had plans to attend a concert in New York City and agreed to go with Brandon. They drove together, but at the show, Bianca connected with another boy and kissed him. Brandon watched from a distance, his ego shattered. That night, Bianca fell asleep in the car, unaware she wouldn't live to see the next morning. Brandon's jealousy, fueled by rejection and entitlement, simmered to the point of premeditated violence. In his world, her autonomy was a betrayal he couldn't forgive. The investigation, a crime, broadcast to the world. On July 14, 2019, police received a disturbing call from Brandon himself. He confessed to the murder and attempted suicide while live streaming on social media. When authorities arrived, they found Brandon lying on a tarp, Bianca's body beneath it. He had spray-painted the message, "May you never forget me," on the ground nearby. What made this case uniquely horrifying was what happened next. Before calling 911, Brandon uploaded graphic images of Bianca's corpse to Discord and Instagram. One image was captioned, "Sorry fuckers, you're going to have to find someone else to orbit." These photos spread rapidly, appearing on timelines, group chats, and even being sent to her family. The internet had turned into a theater of cruelty. Bianca's murder wasn't private, it was a public spectacle. Within hours, her image was exploited for shock, mockery, and attention. The trauma extended far beyond the crime scene, amplified by the very platforms meant to connect us. Twist. Fame by force. Brandon's motive wasn't just revenge, it was recognition. He wanted to be famous. Investigators uncovered search histories that revealed months of planning. He'd researched methods of killing, packed a knife, tarp, and cleaning supplies before the concert, and rehearsed how he'd record it all. His behavior after the murder confirmed his intentions. He posed for selfies with Bianca's body, sent updates to online friends, and documented his actions in real time. This wasn't spontaneous, it was performative. Brandon didn't just want to take Bianca's life, he wanted the world to watch. During questioning, he showed little emotion. His fixation wasn't remorse, it was on whether people were still talking about him. The murder became his stage, and the internet his audience. What he truly craved wasn't love, it was legacy, even if built on blood and tragedy, trial and outcome, a sentence, not justice. Initially, Brandon Clark pleaded not guilty, but as evidence piled up, including his internet activity, messages, and video evidence, he changed his plea. In March 2021, he was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. Bianca's family watched as the man who had tormented their daughter and them was led away in cuffs. In court, Brandon gave a short apology. It felt hollow. He spoke not of Bianca, but of his regret that she had to die. He remained emotionless as victim impact statements were read, failing to acknowledge the pain he caused. Though convicted, his digital footprint remained. Copies of the murder photos still existed online, and with every repost, Bianca's family was re-traumatized all over again. Legacy, the internet's second crime. If Brandon Clark committed the first crime, the internet committed the second. Bianca's family begged tech platforms to remove the graphic images. Some cooperated, others were slow. Trolls created memes, edited images, and posted cruel captions blaming Bianca for her own murder. To make things worse, the district attorney's office mishandled evidence, distributing nude photos from Bianca's phone to media sources. Her mother, Kim Devins, fought back. She filed a lawsuit, launched awareness campaigns, and refused to let her daughter be remembered as a viral victim. Bianca's story had been twisted into internet content, but her family was determined to rewrite it into something powerful. Bianca's Law, fighting for change. In response to their experience, the Devins family began pushing for legislative reform. They proposed Bianca's Law, a bill that would require tech companies to remove graphic content quickly and give families the ability to request removals. The law emphasizes that digital platforms can't be neutral bystanders in the face of violence. It calls for better moderation, faster takedowns, and stricter enforcement to prevent real-world crimes from being broadcast and monetized. The law emphasizes that digital platforms can't be neutral bystanders in the face of violence. It calls for better moderation, faster takedowns, and stricter enforcement to prevent real-world crimes from being broadcast and monetized. Bianca's Law became a symbol of modern digital rights, a demand for accountability in an age where social media can amplify pain. Schools began using Bianca's story in online safety lessons. Mental health advocates referenced her case in awareness drives. Her legacy was reshaped into action. Where are they now? Life after Bianca Brandon. Clark remains incarcerated in New York with no possibility of parole until at least 2044. He has since made multiple attempts to control the narrative of the case, even threatening to sue for being labeled a murderer online. Bianca's family continues their advocacy. Kim Devins has spoken at public events, partnered with digital safety organizations, and worked closely with lawmakers. Despite the trauma, she turned grief into resilience. Her voice became the shield Bianca never had. The Devins home, once filled with anime posters and pastel dreams, is now filled with photos, candles, and letters from supporters around the world. Bianca's presence endures through stories, art, and law. Your thoughts, viewer engagement. This case shook the internet, but what does it say about us as users of technology? Should social media companies be held legally responsible for violent content? Can obsession ever be spotted before it turns deadly? Do we owe victims more than silence when their lives are reduced to clicks? Tell us what you think in the comments. Share your perspective. Spread awareness, because every conversation brings us closer to a safer digital world. She was more than a hashtag. Bianca Devins was not a cautionary tale. She was not viral content. She was a daughter, a friend, a bright soul fighting to rediscover joy. Her life was more than the way it ended. But in a world where obsession can hide behind likes and control can masquerade as love, Bianca's story is a wake-up call. Let's remember her not for what was taken, but for what she stood for: compassion, creativity, and courage. Share this story to promote digital safety. Honor her memory by supporting Bianca's Law. Never share graphic content. Be the voice that stops the cycle of online cruelty. If you found this story important, like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe for more true crime stories that matter. Let Bianca's story be the beginning of change, not the end of hope.